No word yet on when he'll be cleared to resume basketball activities. Bronny suffered a cardiac arrest on July 24th during a workout on the USC campus. Bronny was diagnosed with a congenital heart defect. The U.S. Open tennis tournament kicked off Monday in New York City. Coco Gauff defeated Laura Siegemund of Germany in 3 sets. Gauff will play Myra Andreeva of Russia in the second round Wednesday night. Michelle Obama was a surprise guest speaker last night when the U.S. Open celebrated 50 years of equal pay for men and women in professional tennis. Today is final cut day for the NFL's 32 teams. Each team must reach the 53-man roster limit by 1 p.m. today. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580 is dedicated to empowering our communities by providing progressive talk radio for our audience. We strive to be an intersectional voice for the voiceless. As a Black-owned and operated station, we are committed to highlighting diverse perspectives and creating safe spaces for meaningful dialogue. We believe that everyone has something unique to bring to these political, economic, social, and cultural conversations, and we don't shy away from the hard conversations about current events. We endeavor to be a beacon of hope and understanding, while boldly challenging listeners to think more deeply about difficult topics that impact us all. With this in mind, our mission statement at KBLA Talk 1580 is simple: to create an inclusive platform that promotes civil discourse through honest dialogue and encourages personal growth among our listeners, so they can become the active agents of change. Our vision is to establish ourselves as the premier radio network with relevant programming across the beloved community, connecting people through shared experiences and collective power for lasting impact beyond these challenging times.
KBLA Talk 1580. Happy B-Day, Michael Jackson. Mercury retrograde is retrograding for real right now, but I'll figure it out. Look, this episode of First Things First is brought to you by Wealth Management Financial Advisors, offering tax services, financial planning, and so much more. It is tax season. Get on it, whether you're an individual, a small business, or a nonprofit organization. You can find them at wealthmanagementlb.com. That is wealthmanagementlb.com. And we are talking health and wellness this morning. I'm really happy to invite in a longtime friend and a new friend, new guest, to get this conversation moving. Longtime community health advocate and media pioneer, trusted resource for women, particularly as they pursue midlife wellness. She is dedicated to exploring and promoting fresh concepts for everything from combating weight gain, wrinkles, and confused libido. She says she can demonstrate that menopause can be the best time of a woman's life. Denise Pines, good morning.
It is the best time of our lives.
Well, WisePause is I don't know, is it an organization, an event, all the things that Denise Pines has founded, and you are spreading that gospel.
I am spreading the gospel all over the country and on September 9th in Los Angeles specifically. So, we gather some of the best sort of midlife experts, MDs, DOs, naturopaths, therapeutic specialists, everyone to help women who find themselves at a particular point in their life, typically, as early as mid-30s, but definitely around in their 40s through their 50s and 60s, who find that their body is, not what they thought it was or had been. And when they show up at the doctor, a lot of times the doctors send them away, either sending them away saying they're too young or send them away saying, you're crazy, nothing's wrong with you. And these women end up suffering. And so I like bringing doctors who recognize that the women are, in fact, having a transitional period in their lives, and they know how to help them.
And speaking of doctors, we got one with us this morning. She's a urologist who specializes in comprehensive sexual health, which includes medical and surgical management of sexual health of all genders. She says if you have genitals, she can ensure they're healthy. And all kinds of conditions she treats. We'll get into some of those. Really nice to meet you, Dr. Maria Uloko.
Hello, good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, thanks for joining us. Denise was just talking about how many, many times, women come in for various things that they're experiencing, especially when they get to middle age. But as Denise always points out, middle age seems to start younger and younger these days, and they're told they're crazy or it's all in their mind or there's nothing wrong with them. And I have a sneaking suspicion that some of the things that we maybe have never even heard of that you treat are the subject of that exact kind of response from doctors that just don't know.
Yes, that is 100% correct. This is something that has been very unique to me. I'm trained as a urologist, and typically most traditional urologists only treat men's sexual health, but I did further training to do comprehensive sexual health where I can treat all genders, sexes when it comes to sexual health. And it's been really fascinating to see in the last 3 years since starting practice, the huge differences that men and women face when going through midlife. My male patients, when they come in with low libido, low testosterone, low or difficulties with erections, I don't think I've ever heard a man say, my doctor didn't believe me when I had erectile dysfunction or low libido. We take their complaints very seriously versus when now that I take care of women as well, and I oftentimes hear their stories, I want them to share their stories with me. And often the stories are stories of neglect, stories of gaslighting, stories of dismissal, which is so unfortunate because menopause care is health care. It is, we know that with menopause, perimenopause increases your risk of cardiac disease, colon cancers, endometrial cancer, osteoporosis, a lot of serious health conditions that can all be really prevented with good menopause care. Unfortunately, our country does not value that. And so I always try to tell patients, if someone is dismissing you, that just means they haven't read they haven't read the literature, because there's a lot of literature supporting this, a lot of research supporting the safety and use of this. And, if someone is telling you no, that you can't have life-saving care, you need to go to someone else because they just haven't read.
Well, honestly, I mean, when we think about low libido, I don't think most people think of that being life-saving or even really necessarily being that important, although it seems like it would definitely impact your quality of life.
Oh, yes. So, I think low libido is a symptom, is one of the many symptoms of menopause. And I think we need to start thinking about sexual health as health. When we think about erections, right? We think about, that's a marker of a man's cardiac health. We also need to start addressing sexual health as well as an overall marker of overall health, because it's a very, very important marker for a lot of people. And it's directly related to our hormone status. And we know our hormone status is related to our cardiac, brain, gut health. So to me, although sex seems frivolous, to me it's actually a very strong indicator of health.
It doesn't seem that frivolous to me. But anyway, we're talking with Denise Pines, founder of WisePause, and Dr. Maria Uloko, MD, continuing that conversation. You're welcome in if you have a question or comment. 800-920-1580 is KBLA Talk 1580.
The station you turn to when you've had it up to gear with cultural incompetence. KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you looking for a tax preparation firm that understands the unique financial challenges of African American business owners? Then look no more. Wealth Management Financial Advisors can prepare and file your individual and business taxes. They're committed to providing their clients with the best possible service. See how they make the greatest impact on your taxes. Find them at wealthmanagementlb.com or call them at 562-427-8877. That's 562-427-8877.
You're listening to K-Drip, where we play all the best classic water-wasting hits like watering your lawn during the hottest time of the day and leaky faucets. They're tunes from another time because now that we face a hotter, drier future, every drop counts. Despite an extremely wet winter, keep using less water, fixing leaks, and reusing indoor water for your garden. Visit SaveOurWater.com for more ways to conserve. Up next, brushing your teeth with the water on. K-Drip.
Labor Day savings start now at Lowe's. Get up to an additional $1,500 off select major kitchen appliances. And save $100 off select laundry pairs, priced $1,396 or more. Plus, pick up the latest DeWalt PowerStack 20-volt max 5-amp-hour battery kit and get a select Bear tool free. Lowe's knows home improvement. Valid through 8/30. Appliance savings vary based on purchase amount. Exclusions apply. See Lowe's.com for details while supplies last.
Taco Bell's new grilled cheese dipping taco is, it's completely new. It's got a fresh fried white corn shell filled with cheese and new slow braised shredded beef with even more cheese grilled outside the shell. But what makes it really special is the dip. It comes with 2 sauces and you dip in one or both. Red sauce, then nacho cheese sauce, maybe more red sauce. This is a next level taco situation that'll have you acting brand new. The new grilled cheese dipping taco. Get one on the Taco Bell app today. At participating U.S. Taco Bell stores for a limited time only while supplies last. Contact store for participation which varies.
The California Crusader newspaper would like to thank all of our subscribers for their support throughout the years, proudly serving the South Los Angeles and South Bay areas for more than 40 years. The California Crusader is a multicultural, black-owned, adjudicated newspaper that focuses on providing newsworthy information to the people in our community. We're constantly looking for ways to assist businesses in our community to connect with our subscribers. We provide low-cost, effective ways to promote your business with our reasonable and affordable advertising rates. You can participate by suggesting, sharing, and submitting your stories on the California Crusader newspaper Community Share Facebook group page, or visit our website at cal-cruise-news.com. That's calcruisenews.com. Then click on the Submit Now button located on the top right corner of the homepage, or text CCN to 42828. Again, text CCN to 42828. The California Crusader newspaper, working together to build a better community for our future. Subscribe today.
Thanks for waking up with Dominique DePrima on KBLA Talk 1580.
I do appreciate you. We're talking about sexual health, but we're talking with two great experts this morning. Denise Pines, of course, the founder of WisePause, giving folks a different understanding of midlife health, and Dr. Maria Uloko, MD, urologist, specializing in comprehensive sexual health. We started out, Denise, talking about WisePause. It's coming September 9th to Los Angeles, which is actually next week. It's right around the corner. And how you're changing the way women look at their health and compiling on all of these doctors and different kinds of resources to help women. But it's really not just women, right? I mean, it seems to me that when women are more in touch with what they need. They're healthier, whether it's sexual health or overall management of midlife, menopause, or perimenopause. It helps families. It helps men too.
Oh, absolutely. We actually had 7 men attend with their wives last year, and one, because they want to know how they can help. Right? They see their wives suffering and their partners suffering, and they're suffering along with them, right? I mean, if I'm opening up the window in the middle of winter, or I've got the fan running, or turning the covers on and off, or sweating in the bed, that man is impacted as well. So they want to know. They don't want to see their wives suffering, so they want to also know how they can help. I always say that this is an issue. Menopause is an issue that everybody is impacted by, right? And so, if you're a spouse, like I said, you're experiencing it directly. If you're a child, you don't want to see your mom suffering, or your aunt, or your grandmother. So this isn't an isolated situation. It's just been something, for some reason, that we have not talked about, that we have kind of kept quiet, considered to be taboo topic to talk about, and then left women really suffering for decades now. And it's just ridiculous.
So, Dr. Uloko, you talk about how you started out treating men, and then you expanded your practice as a urologist to have a more comprehensive approach. And it is true, for some reason, it seems like every other commercial on TV is about erectile dysfunction. And now this Peyronie's disease, if I have to see one more commercial with a carrot, I think my head is going to explode. But we don't have the same openness when it comes to talking about it with women. But also, I mean, I don't know, I don't know that people are really clear that sexual dysfunction like erectile dysfunction or low libido or things like that are actually treatable.
Yes, everything you said is very much correct. You cannot watch any sporting event without seeing an advertisement for men's sexual health, and I think that is a huge factor as to where we're at today. One thing I noticed when I expanded my practice is the amount of shame around topics of sexual health, especially women's sexuality. And there's also this cultural narrative where women are kind of expected to, grin and bear it. We're really tough. We can handle a lot. I mean, there's numerous articles about the dismissal of women's symptoms and women's pain. And so when you're going to your doctor asking for help and even getting the courage to seek help and then turned away, because in our country right now, the statistics for people that can actually get a menopause provider is pretty low. I mean, only 10% of American doctors feel comfortable treating menopause, which is, again, such a disservice. We are not learning anything about menopause in medical schools. We are not being incentivized to even care for these patients. So there is a really big disconnect and a big mismatch as people are aging and their ability to get care and get quality of life access.
It's interesting, too. You said, as women we're expected to grin and bear it. I think as Black women, we're expected that even more. We're supposed to be some kind of super women that don't feel pain, even though, that's just not the truth.
Yes, absolutely. There is, I think the state of menopause care is so telling when people like Oprah can't even get the right level of care. She has all the access, all the influence, all the disposal, all the things in her disposal to get care, and yet we're still missing it, and which to me really highlights and paints a picture of how bleak this is in the medical field. Yeah. And if the person with the most access can't get it. Yes, she's a Black woman. Now think about the Black woman without access, without privilege, without prestige. How are they being treated in the medical system? And that's something, I'm one of the few Black menopause providers in the United States, and that's something that is always at the forefront of my thinking, of my research, of my practice, is who cannot get this care and how can I deliver it to them at affordable prices? Because there's also a lack of affordability in menopause care as it stands in the United States as well.
Denise Pines, you've been president of the Medical Board of California, served on the board of Martin Luther King Community Hospital Foundation, and yet every time I look at WisePause and I look at some of the topics, and today, I wanted to focus on sexual health because we have gotten such a great response talking about this. Like, people are hungry for this information. I think to myself, number one, how do you even find all of these doctors? And is this like, when you reach out to the doctors, we see the response from the patients, potential patients, my listeners. What is their response? Are they like, oh, at last we can talk about this? Or is it that, hush, hush, embarrassed, we're going to act like little kids even though we're grown and sexy? What's the response been like?
I mean, I have women who come up to me during the event, after the event, crying, telling me that they finally feel like someone is listening to them and they finally got an answer to their, burning question that they've had. We create an opportunity at the event where you can actually sit with doctors like Uloko who will have a more intimate conversation with you at a table because, people have more questions that they want to ask. They have their own individual question that they want to ask. And yeah, earlier you asked the question of how do I find these doctors? Well, I really study in this space. So, and because of, I sit on the state, the federation of all the state medical boards. So I have, sort of access to doctors all across the U.S. So I really study all the doctors. I look at what they've studied. I look at papers they've written. I look at the services that they provide. I look at what their patients say about them before I invite them to participate in WisePause. Because I want, when you come to WisePause, the doctor in front of you that's talking is safe. That they are knowledgeable. That they understand you and that they actually care about you. And they're not one solution provider, right? Meaning that they're a holistic in their approach to how they see the person. That they are going to provide service. So I'm very conscientious about what it is that I do with WisePause, and I'm always excited that when I discover a new doctor and they have an experience at WisePause and the audience has an experience at WisePause. And to what Dr. Uloko had said about there's so few experts in this space, and that's why, I really try to get women who have been suffering to really come to WisePause to let them know there are doctors that can help you, right? There really are. And the other thing I say about doctors is the doctor who delivered your babies may not be the doctor that you belovedly like so much can help you at this stage. They may not have strategies for you. Especially if they're sending you back home and saying you're okay, or, sometimes they tell you to grind through it. It's only going to be 5 years. Well, why would I want to suffer one day, let alone 5 years?
Yeah, and it's a huge array of doctors here. You got men and women, lots of women, women of every ethnicity and age group, background. So that's really interesting. But I guess what I was really trying to drill down on here is this conversation about sexual health. I think that as a society as a whole, we don't talk about it. I would argue that as Black folks, we talk about it even less. Contrary to popular belief, Dr. Uloko, I think Black folks are sort of prudish when it comes to talking about it. If we're not rapping on a song, in general, I think we tend to be kind of prudish when it comes to talking about this important aspect of our lives.
I agree, but it comes with, the prudishness kind of sometimes comes with our religion, right? And it can be basked in that what's good and what's bad, right? A woman expressing her sexuality is bad in some religious environment. So some of it comes there. Some of it comes from the fact that, my first couple of sexual experiences early on were not really that great. So for a woman, it could be that, sex is very perfunctory, right, and hadn't been really enjoyable. So one of the things we talk about at the event is sort of how do we get past those kinds of things, right? Those are very different than what Dr. Uloko would be treating someone who comes in with, say, excess growth in their vagina lining, so, penetration is hard, or as you age, your vagina gets dry, and so there's uncomfort there. Those are physical things that prevent you from enjoying sex. But there's other things, too, and we talk about some of those things that kind of get in the way, and then you add that on, right? It's like a double whammy.
Yeah, when we come forward, Dr. Uloko, I want to talk about some of these conditions that Denise just mentioned, some of the ones that are even listed in your bio about what people are going through and what it means to be sexually healthy. But it sounds like, just from what Denise is saying and also from what you've intimated, that enjoying sex, having a robust and enjoyable sex life is part of sexual health.
Absolutely, yes. Absolutely, yes. That is actually I think truly the fundamentals of sexual health is also enjoyment and play and joy. I think, there's such a lack of that, and I think a lot of it comes from culture, religion, lack of education, lack of knowledge, and when you are then thrust into something that is supposed to be, we're all told that we're supposed to be really good at it. It's just supposed to come naturally. It's supposed to look like this, and then it doesn't. There's a lot of shame that comes from that, and so a lot of my job is really going through the shame and kind of cutting through the shame and getting down to the real root issue of things. And I take a very playful approach with my patients because I want them to understand that sex is play. It does not need to be such a serious, such a difficult thing. And we kind of make it this way because of the lack of education, the culture, shame, religion, all of those things. And it takes a lot of work to let go of that. And like I said, I'm proud of every single one of my patients that come in because just to even schedule an appointment is hard. And then to come in and to talk about these really difficult topics is really hard. And so I always try to tell patients that, have fun with this. If you put a lot of pressure on yourself to perform one way, that's never going to work out well. I mean, I take a lot of principles from sports psychology and positive psychology. And dealing with sex. Yep.
Sorry, we have a hard stop here, news, traffic, and sports, but we'll continue on the other side. Are you sexually healthy? Checklist when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
More of First Things First with Dominique DePrima when we come forward.
Good morning, I'm Mike Moore here. Good morning, I'm Mike Moore. Here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis is calling up the National Guard as Tropical Storm Idalia takes aim at the Sunshine State. Speaking Monday, DeSantis noted that roughly 5,500 guardsmen are on the ground. Idalia is expected to strengthen into a hurricane soon and make landfall on Florida's Gulf Coast by early tomorrow morning. USC is out with a positive update on the eldest son of Los Angeles Lakers superstar African-American LeBron James. Trojans head coach Andy Enfield said Monday that Bronny James is doing well and attending classes after suffering cardiac arrest during a workout last month. The 18-year-old James is expected to make a full recovery and return to the court in the near future. And that's the latest. I'm Mike Moore from your 24/7 news source, the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Need an accident attorney by your side? All you got to do is call the accident guys.
Injured in a car accident or at work? Call the accident guys to speak with a real expert attorney for a free consultation.
Is this the time? This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
I'm a bad man. LeBron's son Bronny is attending classes this week at USC. No word yet on when he'll be cleared to resume basketball activities. Bronny suffered a cardiac arrest on July 24th during a workout on the USC campus. Bronny was diagnosed with a congenital heart defect. The U.S. Open tennis tournament kicked off Monday in New York City. Coco Gauff defeated Laura Siegemund of Germany in 3 sets. Gauff will play Myra Andreeva of Russia in the second round Wednesday night. Michelle Obama was a surprise guest speaker last night when the U.S. Open celebrated 50 years of equal pay for men and women in professional tennis. Today is final cut day for the NFL's 32 teams. Each team must reach the 53-man roster limit by 1 p.m. today. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Maisha Cairo here with a quick recap from my time at JP Morgan Chase's Advancing Black Wealth Tour. There were speakers Ian Dunlap, Damon John, Lynn Richardson, MC Light, Don Kennedy, to name a few. Take a listen to what Justin Grant, Community Development Lead at Chase's Advancing Black Pathway, let's see what he had to say.
So I'm Justin Grant. I lead community development and national partnerships for JP Morgan Chase's Advancing Black Pathway strategy. And so we're focused on strengthening the economic foundation of black communities, and we're making targeted investments in programs like the Advancing Black Wealth Tour to help us get our tools and resources out to the community to drive sustained impact over time.
So when it comes to black and brown people, it sounds like Chase is making it their personal responsibility not only to facilitate these events, but to educate and provide resources. So, Mr. Grant, I have to ask, what does wealth building look like for the individual?
It's home ownership, it's having that freedom to be able to start your own business and create jobs in your community, and it's having that long-term plan towards retirement, having that vision for what you want your life to be, and you have the resources to actually live it.
I'm Maisha Cairo. Thanks for sticking around. That was my recap from Chase's Advancing Black Wealth Tour. First stop was here in LA, and they're taking it national.
When you're young, life is full of choices. Don't let opioids like highly addictive and deadly fentanyl take away your life with just one wrong pill. Addiction is a disease that can affect anyone at any age. But there is a choice to get help for this disease. Find medically proven treatment options, including virtual, at choosemat.org.
When a cold comes on strong, knock it out with Vicks DayQuil Severe for max strength daytime relief. Just one dose of Vicks DayQuil Severe starts to relieve 9 of your worst cold and flu symptoms to help take you from 9 to none. Power through your day with Vicks DayQuil Severe, the daytime non-drowsy, coughing, aching, fever, sore throat, 9 to none medicine. Use as directed.
Hey, you. Yeah, you. This is your dentist. Do me a favor and feel the front of your teeth. How grimy are they? Ugh. It's time for a Crest Pro Health reality checkup. That grime is the buildup of plaque bacteria that can cause cavities in just months. You need to switch to Crest Pro Health. While most toothpaste stop working in minutes, Crest Pro Health's antibacterial fluoride protects for up to 12 hours to stop cavities before they start. So pick some up on the way home. Smile. Crest has you covered.
Broadcasting live from Leimert Park, USA. Welcome back to your home for unapologetically progressive radio, KBLA Talk 1580.
And it is a great pleasure to talk with Denise Pines, founder of WisePause. That's wisepause.com, coming September 9th, which is next week, to the Skirball Cultural Center in Los Angeles. And also Dr. Maria Uloko, MD. She's a urologist, but going beyond what most folks think about when I think of a urologist, to a comprehensive sexual health of all genders. So I think some things that we talk about, like, symptoms, I guess, or of menopause, we think of being kind of inevitable. Low libido, you're going to erectile dysfunction, vaginal dryness, all these kinds of things that we're kind of taught we just have to deal with it because that's part of getting old. Is that the truth, Dr. Uloko?
So yes and no. Yes, those are all things that are very normal. And I think I say that to normalize these experiences. When you go through menopause, your hormones essentially go to zero, and you have lived more life with hormones than without hormones. Hormones are what keep you healthy. They're what keep you sexually active. And so it is very normal for these things to happen. And also, there are ways to treat it. There are ways to combat a lot of these things to maintain the quality of life that you want and deserve.
Okay, so I'm going to go through some of this list, and maybe you'll add some other things. Vulvar arousal dysfunction. What is that, and how can it be treated?
Yeah, so like I said, your hormones are very important for your sexual health. There are actual physical changes that happen to the vulva, and the vulva is all of the external genitalia except for the vagina. So that's your clitoris, your labia, your urethra, your vestibule, the hole that you pee out of is your urethra. The vestibule is all the tissue that surrounds it. The vulva is a very unique structure that is very dependent on hormones. If you do not have hormones, your vulva actually starts to shrink, shrivel up, become red, raw, and painful, increased risk of recurrent urinary tract infections, pain, and also lack of arousal, because you need hormones, particularly testosterone, in order to keep the vulva healthy. And so when you don't have those hormones on board, it's really hard to get aroused. And arousal means blood flow to the tissues, blood flow to the clitoris, blood flow to the vagina. If you don't have good hormones, you're going to have a much harder time having that process happen for you.
Is that why so many people opt for hormone replacement therapy? I know that's probably just one of the things that it would deal with.
Yes. There are many reasons why people can do hormone replacement therapy: cardiac health, brain health, gut health, bone health, and sexual health. You know, it touches all of these things. So that is definitely a huge reason why in my practice a lot of people come in. They want to feel better, and they also want to have a healthy sex life.
I call this the Talking Point Tuesday. One talking point that I hear a lot is that hormone replacement therapy is dangerous, or that it could lead to cancer or other problems.
Oh, I thank you for bringing that up. So that talking point actually comes from the World Women's Health Initiative, which was a huge clinical trial that was done in the late 90s to see what the safety was for hormone replacement therapy. In the 70s, 60s, hormone replacement therapy was actually very easy to get in the United States. It came over from the European market, and a lot of women actually were given hormone replacement therapy very easily and very freely, almost to a point of overcorrection. They then decided to do a trial to see how safe it was. The way that they set up the trial was very poorly, so that many women actually had heart issues, and so they actually had to stop the trial. Then, in classic fashion, the media took that narrative over, and it just went a sweeping statement of hormone replacement therapy is dangerous. They've actually looked at that study again and found that the average age of people enrolled in that trial was 75 years old. These are women that are almost 30 years out of menopause, perimenopause. So that they've already gone through the changes, and then you're giving them hormones. At that point, it doesn't make any sense or helpful, and actually proves to be dangerous. But actually, when they looked at the women actually going through perimenopause, menopause ages, and looked at how well they did, they actually found that hormone replacement therapy prevented heart disease, heart attack, endometrial cancer, bone fractures, colon cancer, improved sexual health, and improved quality of life. So that's actually all research published and known. It's just that there is this cultural narrative that hormones are dangerous, even though studies after study after study is shown that it's not only safe and beneficial, but it's life-saving. And so, that's why I tell patients, if a doctor tells you hormones aren't safe, they haven't done the reading. They're not up to date on the reading, and you need to go someone else.
Okay. What your bio also says, one of the things you treat is sexual pain, vulvar sexual pain. We hear a lot of women complaining about that.
Yes, I am a chronic pain specialist, pelvic pain specialist as well, because that comes, pain is a big barrier for people to have a healthy sexual health life. And one thing I always like to tell people is that, one, pain, you should not accept pain. A lot of women are told that, yes, it's just supposed to hurt when they have sex. It's just that's just the narrative. And I always push back on that narrative. That is not the norm. Unless you want it to hurt when you have sex, you have the ability to have pain-free sex. And so many women don't know that. The other thing is that so many people think that a lot of these pain conditions are chronic, that they're never going to get better. And I have a practice where a lot of people get better. And it's just really that the medical community is not well trained on vulvar anatomy and how it works. We're still defining the vulva as a medical community. I mean, I was the lead researcher on the clitoris study of how many nerves are in the human clitoris. And that came out in 2023, so this year. So we're still discovering all the parts of the vulva and how they work. And that's unfortunately translating to a huge medical negligence and neglect of this tissue, which is then leading to patients suffering, because a lot of these conditions are very treatable if you follow the science and actually do the diagnostic workup.
Well, and how do you see folks change when they go from pain to no pain in their sex life?
I always say I have the best job ever. If you work with me in clinic, you'll see me cry with my patients. You'll see me laugh with my patients. It is one of the most satisfying experiences to take a person who's been suffering for pain for 10, 15, 20 years, do a very basic exam, give them a really evidence-based treatment, and 6 to 8 weeks later, they come in and they have their life back. I'm getting emotional thinking about this. But those are really some of the moments that make me continue to do the work that I do, because it's tough. It's tough to go against the medical system that doesn't value this work. But, man, those patient moments and those patient stories and just being there to help them there's no feeling like it.
Yeah. I have a feeling, Denise, this is one of your whys, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's definitely one of my whys.
The WHYS, not the WISE.
Yes. When I see women first stay all day, right, very engaged with the doctors, engaged with our exhibitors. I mean, we also have a lot of product solutions that people don't realize that are out there, right? Because, again, women's health doesn't get funded. When you look at research funding for women's health, they only get 4% of the dollars that go to health research. Absolutely ridiculous. I mean, we make up 51% of the population. We get 4% of research in our health, which is why Dr. Uloko, when she just talked about the vulva and how we're still discovering nerve endings and everything else about this, is simply because of that fact, right? So yes, I'm always excited by the end of the day when, I hear all the speakers. I learn myself, I know I don't know, a third of what I should know. And so I'm always excited when I learn something new that I can apply to myself. So, I know that happens to women all the time.
Yep. The event is called WisePause, and it's coming next week to the Skirball Center. WisePause, WisePause, wisepause.com. You can get more information when we come forward. I want to hear about some of those products you referenced. And Denise and Dr. Uloko want to dive in a little bit more on some of these issues that folks are having. It's KBLA Talk 1580.
She's reclaiming her time on KBLA Talk 1580. More First Things First with Dominic DePrima when we come forward.
Hi, it's Tavis Smiley. KBLA Talk 1580 is inviting you to join us on Saturday, September 16th, 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. for our very first economic empowerment event for the community. This event is free and it's powered by Caltrans. We're doing this in association with Rambo House, and here's Rambo to tell you more.
Contracts. I'm going to say it again for all of us small business owners out there. Contracts. Rambo House, KBLA, Tavis, me. Oh my God, this is going to be massive. I truly thank Caltrans for giving us the opportunity to focus on contracts. Listen, that's what it's all about to be a small business in LA. That's how we hire our own. That's how we expand our community is contracts. KBLA1580.com is for you to have a seat at our contracts-focused event. Contract Ready does it again. We had over 900 last time. So you guys know how exciting this is. And if you just think that you want to get into contracts and you're close to it, bring your friends out for September 16th at the Marriott Hotel. Listen, you know where to register. KBLA1580.com. Come see me. I can't wait to see you. Let's do it, Tavis.
So be sure to go to KBLA1580.com for all the details. We'll see you Saturday, September 16th.
For all of us, this generation and the next, there is simply no place in our lives for litter. And yet, it's everywhere we look, and unfortunately, it does belong to all of us. So let's come together and create a litter-free, clean California once and for all. Remember to properly dispose of your trash and recycling. Secure truckloads with tarps to keep debris from flying out. Clean out your car when you're at the gas station. Take pride in your community by organizing a cleanup event or join a cleanup event near you. Zero litter is the goal. Join us at cleanca.com. That's cleanca.com. Let's do it together. Brought to you by Caltrans. cleanca.com.
This is KBLA Talk 1580, where hate meets a scholarly match.
Scholarly Match today is battling sexual dysfunction, focusing on sexual health. Denise Pines is with me. She is the founder of WisePause, wisepause.com. You can register there. It's coming to the Skirball Center, the beautiful Skirball Center, next weekend, September 9th, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. And Dr. Maria Uloko is joining me, and I didn't even, I'm learning as we go. I did not even realize there was such a thing as the International Society of Sexual Medicine, and I think the Society of Sexual Medicine North America. I think you're right, Dr. Uloko. We feel like we're out on an island and that we just have to figure it out ourselves. But before I forget, Denise Pines, you said, well, you can also find out about products that might be helpful. We're talking about sexual health. What kinds of products are you talking about?
Sure. There's a company called Lioness, which has a lube that's specific for vaginal dryness, a company called Foria, and another company called Apothic, which uses CBD and some THC in some of their products that also help with vaginal dryness, that have lubes and some, gummies to put in your mouth for other menopausal experiences. A company called Weil, which uses homeopathic solutions. So we have a lot of natural solutions. We do have some traditional hormone replacement therapy companies that are there too, that people can talk to understand more about how those products work. So we have just sort of a cross of everything. We have a woman who has created an energy bar called Menowell that helps with, it's very low calorie. It helps with weight control, but it also has maca in it to give you energy. So there's just just everything. Obviously, I have a product. We'll have our teas there.
Right, the menopause tea, the tea botanics.
Menopause teas.
Yes. Okay, so, we could do a whole show on just products, but I want to circle back, Dr. Uloko, to some of the things that people are dealing with when they talk about their sexual health, and also how we know we're healthy. So first of all, you, not to leave the men out, regenerative erectile dysfunction treatments and advanced erectile dysfunction. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. So, erectile dysfunction is, a product of aging. The likelihood of developing erectile dysfunction increases by 10% with each decade. So 40% of men in their 40s will have ED, 50% of men in their 50s, and so on and forth. So, and there are various stages of erectile dysfunction, and there's many, many causes of it. It can range from psychological. It can range from vascular, meaning blood flow. Is it healthy muscles? Is it lack of sensation? And so there are great options, non-surgical options for erectile dysfunction. The most notable or the most popular are things like Viagra, Cialis. But there are new therapies that are non-invasive with the idea of actually helping the tissue of the penis to stay healthy. Like how, a lot of people will do Botox or filler or a lot of mask and peels for their face. Essentially, you can do those things for your genitals as well. And so there are things called shockwave therapy, which are now not all the rage, but that's the up and coming thing in regenerative therapies. And there's still a lot of research left to do. It's currently not FDA approved in the United States for the treatment of erectile dysfunction, but there are a lot of clinical trials that are currently being used, and it's still being used in the United States regardless of the FDA approval. And it's a great option for people that want to maintain the longevity of their penile health. It helps to stimulate stem cells, which then helps muscle repair. And we know that we need healthy muscles for healthy erections. And then for patients that have more severe erectile dysfunction, they've tried all the pills, the medications, the devices, and they're still not satisfied. There are surgical options for erectile dysfunction that are amazing. There's an inflatable penile prosthesis where essentially I tell people it's like having a bionic penis. Whenever you want an erection, you inflate the device. When you don't want the erection, you deflate the device, and it's safe to use. It's effective. Really, really, patients are so happy with these really awesome and intuitive and ingenious devices and surgeries, which are life-changing for them.
When we come forward, I want to get that checklist I've been talking about. How do we know we're healthy? How do we know we're on the right track? And, of course, how we can check off some of those items at WisePause on the 9th of September. It is KBLA Talk 1580.
Say the quiet part out loud. KBLA Talk 1580.
Are you looking to steer your career in a new direction? Driving for the Culver City Bus can be your ticket to a long-lasting career with excellent benefits and paid training. Culver City Bus is looking for customer service and safety-minded bus operators to join the growing team. Culver City Bus offers on-the-job paid training, uniform allowance, and health benefits. Culver City Bus are now even putting their money in your pocket with a one-time $2,500 sign-on bonus. Let us connect you with an essential service job. If you enjoy driving, seek real opportunities for career advancement, and passionate about making a difference in your community, then we invite you to join the team. Start your journey by submitting an application at culvercity.org/job. For more information, visit culvercitybus.com or call the live customer service operator at 310-253-6500. Again, 350-253-6500.
Hello, I'm Scott Strauss. On 9/11, I was a New York City police officer assigned to finding survivors buried under the rubble of the World Trade Center. Those were difficult days, but what kept me going was seeing the way Americans joined together in unity. It didn't matter if you were a Democrat or a Republican or anything else. For 9/11 this year, now a National Day of Service, let's rekindle that spirit of unity by doing good deeds. Visit 911day.org.
Mom's early Alzheimer's diagnosis was hard to take.
And when I left the oven on, we decided together that it was time to see a doctor and make a plan.
Early detection gave us more time to seek out information and support as a family.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together. For more information, visit alz.org/time-to-talk. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
The conversation continues right now with Dominique DePrima on First Things First.
And we just got a few minutes here before we hand the microphone off to Mr. Tavis Smiley, your friend and mine, Denise Pines. I want to just quickly ask Dr. Uloko for a little checklist. Like, how do we know that we are sexually healthy?
Ooh, that's a great question. How do you know if you're sexually healthy? It's really, wow. It's a state of mind. It's a state of mind. So having a healthy state of mind of sexuality and sexual health and what that means to you is the first and foremost. I always tell people that your brain is your biggest sex organ. If your brain is not right, your mental health is not right, nothing, no matter how optimized and healthy you are from a sexual health standpoint, it just won't work. And then 2, cardiac health. So again, sexual health is a marker of cardiac health. So things like exercise, diet, that spiritual health, that emotional health, all play a huge factor into this. And then just generally how you feel. If you want to change, if you're happy with your sexual life, amazing. You can continue to maintain that. But if at any point in time you want to change something or make something better, that is a great time to inquire about your sexual health and find a sexual health doctor to help you reach the goals that you want to get to.
If you're happy, carry on. If not, help is on the way. Denise, talk to me about WisePause and how we can check some of those things off the list.
Sure. Well, to go to WisePause, I'm going to give 5 listeners a free registration. So here's the code you're going to use, WPKBLA, WPKBLA. So, yeah, definitely attend. You'll get to meet Dr. Uloko, who you've heard, and I'm sure everyone has fallen in love with her by this point, and want to hear more and connect with her and hear from our other doctors. I mean, it's going to be an amazing day. We give away a goodie bag that's worth $350. Dominique, I will hold one for you in case you're not able to come. So, we have a good time. We feed you. On top of that, and we do massages and acupuncture, acupressure, lots of therapies that also help with rebalancing the body anytime. So, I like to do it just as I've gotten older. It definitely really helps, with the joints as we've aged. So I think it's just going to be a great experience.
Yeah, I mean, I've been to WisePause before. I definitely recommend it if you can get out there to Skirball. It's a fellowship learning, and it's actually kind of fun. Denise and Dr. Uloko, thank you so much for being with us this morning.
Thank you for having me.
WisePause.com. Tavis Smiley is up next. He's got a full lineup of shows for you tomorrow. I wanted to remind you, if you've missed any of our broadcasts, including this morning's conversation with attorney Ariva Martin about the sentencing of Mark Ridley Thomas. Find them wherever you get your podcasts. They are absolutely free, or you can get them on the KBLA 1580 app, also free from the App Store or the Google Play Store. I'm Dominique DePrima. History is now, and we are making it together. Until tomorrow, be safe, be well, one love.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
Good morning. DeSantis noted that roughly 5,500 guardsmen are on the ground. Idalia is expected to strengthen into a hurricane soon and make